Now, if there's something going on in your lives and you want to get in contact with us, we love that because we want to talk about what's going on. And this morning, we've been hearing from you about the reality of living on the state pension. Now, joining us to discuss further is journalist Liam Collins, pensioner Geraldine Murphy, and Head of Policy and Programmes at Active Retirement Ireland, Alison Bough. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. Are we going to start with the letter, Muireann? We'll start with the letter. Laura got in contact with us and she said, the reason I'm writing this is because when there was two pensions, Laura's husband died last year, and we're so sorry for your loss, Laura. You could cope okay, but when your partner passes, you're only living on one pension. You lose at least 1,300 per month, and trying to live on that is just so unbelievably hard. And Laura goes on to talk about how her life was, it was comfortable, and now it's just a struggle every single day. We're talking about €299.30 per month. Liam, you wrote about living on the state pension in the Indo. It was a great article. Can you tell us what you did?
Thanks. Yeah, it was... I just went to buy something in Dunleary and it cost €15, and then I went into Mead Street and the same item cost €5.
Come on, give it up to Mead Street there now.
Exactly. So how do you... So I thought about if I lived on the pension for the week and just go through every item, keep every receipt and see if I could survive. And it seems to be, it's okay if you do the right things, but and nothing ambushes you.
Yeah.
But it is a struggle then when something goes wrong or, you know, you have an extra debt. I'm very lucky in that I have another pension from my employer. Mm-hmm. So, but I put that away and just lived on the state pension for the week, and I did find it a struggle.
€299. Energy, housing, heating, food, everything.
All those things,
And Geraldine, you were, as Muireann was reading that letter there, you were shaking your head going, I know all about this.
Yeah, because I live alone, or I would be living alone, and I would be certainly in trouble, because when you do the sums, you're left with maybe, without even doing the grocery shopping, or going for a bit of fashion, or going on holiday, or looking after birthdays or Christmas, you might be left with about 50 a week. The point is that you just don't get by on that. You do have to do something else. So thank goodness for the rent a room, because I would have students, mature students now, I'm not able for the young ones, but I would have mature students to stay in the house. And I've been very fortunate. I've only had one that was where I had a difficulty.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I've had really nice people staying in the house with me. And that's made all the difference to me. That way, I can do my holidays. I can give somebody a Christmas gift. I can do the normal things.
You see, you think of that when you think of the state pension, and you think of, like, Nanny's there, and of course Nanny wants to buy a present for a granddaughter or a daughter or something like that.
Yep.
These are things that you don't think that you have to sort of worry about now, because I can't pay that because if I want to buy a little present for my granddaughter for her birthday.
Yeah. Well, nieces and nephews is what I'd have. And,
but nieces and nephews, yeah.
You'd like to be right in there with them.
Geraldine, can I ask you, you've been on the pension for 15 years.
Yes.
Obviously, there's been changes in the pension in that time, certain increases. But over the past 5 years, we have seen a huge change in the cost of living.
Yep.
Have you noticed that day to day?
Yeah, I have, because although I got the wrap done on the house, which was terrific, you know,
for insulation,
through the essay,
insulation,
and it is helping and all that, but the money is still the same going out. The gas and the electricity are still costing as much. It's not really saving money, but I can imagine if I didn't have that, I'd really be in a worse situation.
Yeah.
It does
Alison,
change.
what's it like as someone who knows the active retirement and all those people who are in this? What are they saying to you? What are you feeling among pensioners out there at the moment?
Just exactly that. There's no buffer. You know, there's nothing if there's an emergency, as Liam said, you know, if you suddenly needed dental work or medical expenses, or there's no buffer there in, you know, €299.30, and that's the upper limit that you'd be receiving per week. We've got energy crisis, energy costs that are absolutely, I mean, for a lot of people, they are choosing between eating and heating. And that's a reality, you know, that's not a kind of a throwaway statement. No. They really are choosing between eating and heating. But they also may not want to talk about that because there's an element of humiliation there where they don't want to say, well, do you know what, I don't have the money for this small gift at Christmas, or I'm not able to socialise on this occasion because, you know, I know Liam was laughing about his wine, but I mean, the reality is our organisation exists to prevent loneliness and to prevent social isolation. But if you're not able to afford to socialise because you're having to try desperately to cover the basics, that makes people retreat inwards and they do become socially isolated.
Well, one thing that is going to become a hot topic, it has been for quite a long time, and we've seen people take to the streets in France over this, and this is the retirement age, Alison, and the increasing of the retirement age in Ireland. Currently, the government are paying 16.8 billion is what they're paying on the state pension, contributory or otherwise. So what are you hearing from your members about increasing the retirement age?
We would feel that retirement should always be a choice. Okay. So everybody should have the choice about when and how they retire and where they retire. But increasingly that choice is being removed because people have to work. They have to keep going. So last year...
Do people not want to work? We're like people, I think now when they're in their mid-60s want to continue. Is that not?
Which is very, very young. It's a, you know, we have an aging
so
population.
67 now you're being told you're finished. Yeah. You have to give it all up.
Yeah. And we had statistics last year from the Central Statistics Office saying that 52% of workers currently were reporting that they will be entirely reliant on the state pension. So the direction of travel doesn't really add up. So we have a lot of workers saying they are going to be entirely reliant on the state pension. And we have an issue where the state pension is not tied to inflation or average weekly earnings.
Yeah.
So that's not going to end well.
Something's about to happen. Yeah. Liam, you wanted to come in on that?
I think that is a very good point. And what this might do is get younger people to say, look, I need to make provision. Yeah. Because nobody really wants to think about a pension until maybe 2 weeks before they retire.
But auto-enrolment was meant to do this, right?
Yeah, I think that is a good idea. The other thing I will say, and I'm saying this, as I said, as someone who also has a private pension, you know, it is nice to get €300 every Friday when you think of young people who might be looking in and saying, well, look, they all own their houses and, you know, they're getting this money every week, but we can't afford those kind of things. So I think you have to have sympathy as well with the people who are paying our pensions as they, you know...
Geraldine, do you want to come in there?
Yeah, you know, we're talking about having so much pension and people not being prepared to talk about it. But when you think, back when I was working, and even in the early days of when I was working, we didn't even consider joining a pension. We were too busy paying taxes. Yeah. We were paying taxes 30 and 40%. Yeah. And that was the norm. And people were contributing so much to taxes, they hadn't got money to even consider pensions. So now you've got generations who don't have extra pensions. And if you leave it at that, you know, people are coming along without the extra money to cover it.
Can I ask you there, Geraldine, like you're saying you have the rent a room and you have that and you have that and you had a small pension. If you didn't have that, where would you be?
It would be very tight. The other thing I'm very lucky with is my parents left me my house. Yeah. So I haven't got rent to pay.
Right.
So look at how many people have rent to pay on top of all of this.
Which is increasing in the senior community in this country. More and more people who don't own their homes are kicking out.
More and more older people are finding themselves unable to manage.
Yeah. And is it something that you talk about, Geraldine, with friends? Because I'm just seeing, if we're looking at global figures, in America, increasingly people in their 70s are working 2 and 3 jobs to try to make ends meet because the wealth gap is getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. At the moment, we seem to be okay, but we know that seniors are falling into poverty in this country.
That's exactly it. And that's exactly what Alison is saying, that if you don't tie it in, if you don't connect it with the average working wage, that gap is going to increase. And someday they'll wake up and say, oh, we should do something about it, but the gap is going to be so big, they won't be able to meet it. If they would do it gradually, if they would get onto a percentage situation now, at least then you've got something to work with. But and another thing, if I can just push it in.
Of course, Geraldine.
When we were talking about the having a pension or not having a pension, and I mentioned the tax that was paid as we were younger, we've paid into all of this.
Yeah, all
We're
your
not
life.
looking for handouts.
Yeah.
It's not a handout.
Yeah.
Now, the
Really.
government have said that there will be an increase in pension. What do you hope the increase will be?
So the situation with the Irish state pension is that in 2018, so that was in the roadmap for pension reform back in 2018, it was promised by the government at that point that the pension would be benchmarked at 34% of average weekly earnings. That hasn't happened. So every year now when the budget rolls around, as it will again very shortly.
In October.
Every year when the budget rolls around, it's entirely at the discretion of the government how much the pension is increased. It increased €10 last year. In 2025, it increased by €12. So that's not going to make a significant difference when you weigh it up against the cost of living.
Cost of living and the inflation that's happening. The government have given us a statement. The living alone increase is one of those secondary payments for those who are living alone. The current rate of living alone, the increase is €22 a week. That's over 144 since 2019 when it was just €9 a week. They say ensuring greater financial security for future generations of pensioners is an important objective for government. And they say the commencement of Ireland's automatic enrolment system, My Future Fund, has brought over 810,000 employees into enhanced retirement savings provision. The government will continue to provide appropriate increases in the financial supports available to older people, is the statement from the government today. Geraldine's just looking at me going, yeah. Right. Liam wrote a great piece. If you want to read it, it's in the Irish Independent. Thank you so much for it. It was really, really interesting. Geraldine Murphy, pensioner and member of Active Retirement, and Alison, we want to make sure we get this right. Bough, I got it wrong. Head of Policy and Programmes at Active Retirement Ireland. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you all.